Welcome back, stranger, to Mortar and Ivy, specifically our segment Friday Night Reads, in which case tonight we will be reading Faust by Goethe. Those who are unaware, Faust is a story of a real person who lived in Germany in the 16th century, 15th and 16th centuries, and his story was first told, uh, loosely based, by Christopher Marlowe in about 50 years after he passed. And it is the story of a man who, unfulfilled with his life, decides to make a deal with the devil for numerous worldly goods, riches, etc. And I think it is perfect for this time of year. Let us begin. Dedication. Once more you near me, wavering apparitions, that early showed before the turpid gaze. Will now I seek to grant you definition, my heart essay again the former days? You press me, well, I yield to your petition, as all round me you rise from mist and haze. What wafts from your train with magic glamour is quickening my breast to youthful tremor. You conjure up delightful days and places, and there ascends so many a cherished shade. Like an old legend's half-forgotten graces, first loves and friendships' echoes are replayed. Old grief revives, a mournful plaint retraces life's labyrinthine and erratic gait, and name the dear ones who, by fortune cheated, of blissful hours before me have retreated. They do not listen to the later cantos, the souls to whom I once intoned the first. Long wane those early echoes and mementos, the friendly multitude, alas, dispersed. In different ears my song of sorrow enters, their very praises wait upon my heart, and those my lyre may still have pleased and flattered, if living yet, are swept abroad and scattered. And I am seized by long unwonted yearning, and for that domain of spirits calm and grave, to tenuous notes my lisping song is turning, like Eccles' harp it fitfully would wave. A shudder grips me, tear on tear is burning, with softening balm the sombre heart they lave. What I possess I see as from a distance, and what has passed to me become existence. Prelude in the theater. Let's hear, you two, who have so long here by my side endured and suffered what might be hoped for from this effort in countries of the German tongue. I would prepare the crowd a special revel, for they believe in living, letting live. The posts are raised, the boards laid down and level. All are in hopes to have a feast to give. With eyebrows raised, they sit in the enclosure, and long to be amazed with due composure. I know how people's taste may have caressed, and yet I am in dire straits than ever. While they are not accustomed to the best, still they are frightfully well read and clever. How can we see that all is fresh and new, and with significance engaging too? Of course I find a crowd of people pleasing, delight in throngs at our pavilion queued, in pulsing pangs of mighty labor squeezing through the tight portals of beatitude. When in broad daylight, well before it's 4, they fight their way up to the cashier's slot, and as in time of famine by the baker's door, for tickets break their necks as like as not. Upon such diverse folk can work this wondrous sway, none but the poet friend do it today. Poet. Invoke me not, the motley crew unsteady, whose very aspect puts the mind to flight. Oh, shroud from me the swirling human eddy that draws us downward, struggle as we might. Find me that nook of heaven's stillness, heady with blossom of the poet's pure delight, where for the heart both love and friendship flourish, with godly hands create its bliss and nourish. Ah, what broke forth where deeply it lay buried, what lip is shyly lisped in private hours, accomplished now at other times miscarried. The savage moment's vehemence devours. It is through years of waited ferried, before it issues in its ripened powers. What shines is for the moment born must perish, the genuine posterity will cherish. Merry person. That talk about posterity won't sell me. If it talked of posterity, just tell me. Who would supply the fun for now claims its time and wants its pleasant? I find an honest fellow's present is always something anyhow. Him who with comfort can convey his sense, the people's mood will not embetter, surely. He wants a broader audience, to grip their hearts the more securely. So do be good and act in model fashion, show fancy in her fullest panoply. Sense, understanding, sentiment, and passion, and mind you, last not least, some foolery. Director. Above all, let there be sufficient plot. They like to look, so let them see a lot. You give the audience a solid eyeful, so they can gape and marvel all the time. You'll grip them by sheer quantity of trifle, your popularity will climb. Mass calls for mass in order to be won. Each ends up choosing something for his own. Who brings a lot, brings bits for everyone, and they will all be happy going home. You stage a piece, serve it in pieces, do. Why, it's a snap to make this kind of stew. It's served fast as cooked up in your head. What use is it to bring your whole instead? The public shreds it anyway for you. Poet. You do not sense how cheap this is, how tawdry, how shamefully true art is thus maligned. The charlatan's ragout of tricks and bawdry, I see is now an axiom in your mind. Director. Such reprobation leaves me cool. To do a proper job, you choose the tool that is adapted to your timber. The wood you are to split is soft, remember. Just look for whom you will have striven. This one may be by boredom driven. That one is comatose from overfeeding, and what is more reluctantly forgiven. A lot arrive fresh from journal reading. Mere curiosity will spur their paces. They come in scattered wits, as for a masquerade. The ladies show their get-ups and their faces. Each plays an extra, though unpaid. Why daydream on your poet's eminence? Why should a full house gladden you? Look closely at your patrons do. One half is cold, the other dense. One, when the show ends, looks to cards and booze. Another to a wild night with a trollop. Would you spur Pegasus to gallop? For this, poor fools, and plague the muse? I tell you, just give more and ever more, and you will never stray off target. Endeavor to confuse your human market. To sate it truly is a chore. What's come upon you, ecstasy or egg? Poet. Begone and find yourself another minion. The poet shall forego, in your opinion, the loftiest human right of which he may partake, by nature's gift profane ill, grossly for your sake. How does he kindle every heart? How conquer every elemental part? Not by the chords that from his bosom waft, and snare the universe backed by his craft. The while indifferent nature, helter-skelter, twist the eternal thread upon her spindle, when all created things discordant welter, would coalesce into a graceless brindle. Who parts the sequence changeless and perpetual, enlivening into rhythmic ease? Who calls the single to the common ritual, where resounds in glorious harmonies? Who lets the tempest passions rage the maddest, impart great meaning to the grey sunset glow? Who strews the bloom of springtime at its gladdest, where the beloved is wont to go? Who braids the insignificant green laurels to every merit's honorific wreaths? Who firms Olympus, unifies immortals, the mighty of man, which in the poet breathes? The merry person. So draw on them those fine perfections, and ply your lyrical transactions, as one conducts an amorous intrigue. One happens in, feels, lingers, is in league. And more drawn in and interested, enchantment grows and then is contested. As you rejoice, now pain receives its chance. Before you know it, presto, there's your romance. Such is the spectacle we should be giving, and just reach into the wealth of human living. Each lives it, those who know it are but few, and grip it where you will, it's gripping too. In colourful show, less light than dark, much error of truth a spark. Thus is the headiest mixture brewed, to slake and edify the multitude. Then flocks to you the finest youthful splendor, and listens as to revelation holy. To every soul of sentiment you tender, the suck and sustenance of melancholy. There is stirred upon now this, now that soft part. Each sees what is sequestered in his heart. Their gift is laughter, tears is undiminished. Illusion yet delights, elan still ranks. There is no pleasing someone who's finished. He who still grows will ever render thanks. Poet. Then to me too return those times, when I myself was growing still, when a clear fount, surcharged with rhymes, sprang self-renewing from the well. The time the world was swathed in veils, when yet the bud held wondrous bowers, when I would pluck the thousand flowers that richly covered all the dales. Nothing I had, and yet enough for youth, delight in fictions and the thirst for truth. Return untamed to me these surges, that agonizing blissful ruth. The strength of hate love's mighty urges, alas, return to me my youth. Merry Person. Your youth, good friend, you need it best when enemies in battles press you, when falling on your neck with zest, a throng of lovely gales caress you. When racing hard, you stole a glance, where a goal and distant laurels beckoned, but after reckless whirling dance, you drink the night through, time unreckoned. But on the long familiar lie, to sound a chord with pluck and grace, to self-appointed goal aspire at charmingly erratic pace. Old fellows, that's your proper game, and we shall not revere you less for it. Old ages does not make childish as they claim, it merely finds us genuine children yet. Director. Sufficient speeches have been bandied. Now let me see some deeds at last. While mutual compliments are candied, the time might usefully be passed. What use to prate of inspiration? The laggard it will ever flee. Call yourselves poets by vocation? Then order up your poetry. What we require is known to you. We want to sip a potent brew. Start brewing it without delay. Tomorrow's late for what's not done today. There's not a day to lose, and so whatever's possible, resolve robust. Should take it by the forelock fast, then is loath to let it go, and labors on because it must. You know, upon our German stages, each man puts on just what he may. To spare me not upon this day machinery and cartinages. The great and little light of heaven employ, the stars you may as freely squander. Cliff drops and water, fire and thunder. Birds, animal are in supply. So in this narrow house of boarded space, creation's full of circle, go to pace, and walk with leisure to speed your spell from heaven through the world to hell. Prologue. Setting heaven. The Lord, the heavenly hosts, later Mephistopheles. The three archangels step forward. Raphael. The sun contends in age-old fashion with brother spheres and hymnic sound, and in far thundering progression discharges his appointed round. His aspect lends the angel's power, while none may gauge his secret way. Sublime past understanding tower those works as on the primal day. Gabriel. The earth's resplendent spins and ranges past understanding swift in flight, and paradisiac lucence changes with awe-inspiring depths of night. The ocean's foaming seas run shoreward, on rocky depths rebound and rear, and rock and ocean hurtle forward, sped by the ever-hurrying sphere. Michael. And tempest roars with tempest vying from sea to land, from land to sea, in their alternate furies tying a chain of deepest potency. A flash of fiery disaster precedes the thunder on its way. Thy envoys, though, revere, O Master, the gentle progress of thy day. The three in unison. I can only do one of them, I'm sorry. This aspect lends the angel's power, as none may gauge thy secret way, and all thy sovereign works still tower sublime as on the primal day. Mephistopheles. Since once again, O Lord, I find you deigning to walk amongst you, asking how we do, and in the past you thought me entertaining, to see me too here with your retinue. You see, me fine speeches are, beg pardon, not my forte, though all this round may mock me, but I know, my rhetoric you'd laugh it out of court. Had you not cast off laughter long ago, on suns and worlds I can shed little light. I see but humans and their piteous plight. Earth's little god runs true to his old way, and as is as weird as on the primal day. He might be living somewhat better, had you not given him of heaven's light a glitter. He calls it reasoned, and ordained its priest, becomes more bestial than any beast. He seems to me, begging your honor's pardon, like one of those grasshoppers in your garden, that leg it skippeth skimming all day long, and in the grass chirp out the same old song. If only he'd just lie in the grass at that, but no, he sticks his nose in every pat. The Lord. And you have no other news? Do you come always only to accuse? Does nothing please you ever on this earth? No, Lord, I find it still of precious little worth. I feel for mankind and their wretchedness. It makes me want to plague them less. Do you know Faust, the doctor? Yes, my serf. Forsooth, He serves you in a curious fashion, not of this earth the madman's drink or ration. He's driven far afield by some strange leaven. He's half aware of his demented quest. He claims the most resplendent stars from heaven, and from the earth each pleasure's highest zest. Yet near or far he finds no heaven of solace for his deeply troubled breast. Though now he's served me but in clouded ways, soon I shall guide him so his spirit clears. The gardener knows by the young tree's green haze that bloom and fruit will grace it down the years. You lose him yet, I offer bet and tally, provided that your honor gives me leave to lead him gently up my alley. As long as on the earth he lives, so long it shall not be forbidden man ever errs the while he strives. My thanks to you I've never hidden an old distaste for dealing with the dead. Give me a full-cheeked, fresh-faced lad. A corpse with me is just no dice. In this way I'm like a cat with mice. So be it, I shall not forbid it. Estrange the spirit from its primal source. Have license, if you can but win it, to lead it down your path by shrewd resource, and stand ashamed when you must own perforce. A worthy soul through the dark urges within it is well aware of the appointed course. Maybe, but it has never lasted yet. I am by no means worried for my bet. And if I do achieve my stated purpent, you grant me the full triumph that I covet. Dust shall he swallow, aye, and love it, like my old cousin, the illustrious serpent. Then to enjoy free visitation, I never did abominate your kind. Of all the spirits of negation, the rogue has been least onerous to my mind. Man all too easily grows lax and mellow, and so I like to pair him with a fellow, to play the deuce, to stir and to entice. But you, true signs of the godly race, rejoice you in the font of living grace. By ever active, ever live creation, in love's enchanting fetters be you caught, and that which sways in wavering revelation, may you compact it with enduring thought. Heaven closes, the archangels disperse. Mephistopheles, alone. At times I don't mind seeing the old gent, and trying to keep relations smooth and level. Say what you like, it's quite a compliment. A swell like him so man-to-man with the devil. Let me know if I'm getting too theatric. I'm getting carried away. This coffee's really hitting me. Ooh, got that pumpkin spice creamer. Check it out. Oh, that adds a nice glow to the lantern. The tragedy's first part. Setting, the nighttime. Gotta steam it up to keep the old bellows. In a narrow, high-vaulted Gothic chamber, Faust, restless in his armchair by his desk. I have pursued, alas, philosophy, jurisprudence, and medicine, and help me God, theology, with fervent zeal through thick and thin. And here, poor fool, I stand once more, no wiser than I was before. They call me magister, doctor, no less, and for some 10 years, I would guess, through ups and downs and to's and fro's, I have led my pupils by the nose. And see, there is nothing we can know. It fair sears my heart to find it so. True, I know more than those impostors, those parsons and scribes, doctors and masters. No doubt can plague me or conscience cavil. I stand not in fear of hell or devil. But then all delight for me is shattered. I do not pretend to worthwhile knowledge. Don't flatter myself I can teach in college how men might be converted or bettered. Nor have I estate or moneyed worth, nor honor or splendor of this earth. No dog would live out such wretched part. So I resorted to magic's art, to see if by spirit, mouth, and might many a secret may come to light. So I need toil no longer so, propounding what I do not know. So I perceive the inmost force that bonds the very universe. View all enactments, seed and spring, and quit my verbiage mongering. Oh, full moon radiant, would that you, who many a midnight vigil through have found me wakeful in this chair, might look your last on my despair. As over books I used to bend, you would appear to me, sad friend. Ah, with that on high mountain ways I wandered by your lovely rays, might haunt with sprites a cavern rift, on meadows in your twilight drift, and rid of learning's fetid fume, bathe whole my spirit in your spume. whatever spume is. Woe stuck within this dungeon yet, curse this dank frosty cabinet, where even heaven's door, where even heaven's dear ray can pass, but murkily through tinted glass, entombed within this book-lined tower, which dust envelops, worms devour, by fumigated charts unrolled, as high up as this vault can hold, and instruments all choked and furled, hemmed in by flagon, jar and trunk, stuffed tightly with ancestral junk. This is your world. Call this a world. And still you wonder what constrained your thwarted spirit's anxious surge. Still ask what torment unexplained will cramp your every vital urge. Shut out from nature's teeming throng, which God made man to dwell among. You skulk and reek and mold alone, mid ribs of beast and human bone. Flee up, escape to open fields, full armed with that mysterious script, with Nostradamus wisdom yields. Why ask for more companionship? In nature's proper school enrolled, you learn the course of stars and moons. Then will your power of soul unfold, how spirit with it likes communes. In vain to hope, reflection dry, could make the sacred tokens clear. You spirits, you who float nearby, give me an answer if you hear. He opens the book and perceives the sign of the macrocosm. Ah, what enchantment at the sight of this! Suffuses every sense, what lovely verve! I feel now new burgeoning life with sacred bliss, reincandescent course through vein and nerve. Was it a god that fashioned this design, which calms the tumult in my breast, floods my poor heart with happiness, and with a secret thrust divine, makes nature's powers about me manifest? Am I a god? I feel such light in me. Within these tracings pure and whole, there lies creative nature open to my soul. At last I comprehend the sage's plea. The world of spirit is not barred, your senses shut, your heart is dead. Go bathe, disciple, undeterred, your mortal breast is sunrise red. He scrutinizes the sign. How all uncommon wealth contrives, each in the other works and thrives. How heavenly forces rising and descending past golden years in exchange unending. On wings with blessing fragrant, from heaven the earth's pervading, fill all the world with harmonies vagrant. What glorious show, yet but a show, alas! How boundless nature sees you in my clasp. You breasts where all life's sources twain, both heaven and earth are pressed. Where thrusts itself my shriveled breast, you brim, you quench, yet I must thirst in vain. Moodily he turns up another page and perceives the sign of the earth spirit. Not so this sign affects my soul, not so. You, the spirit of the earth, are nigher. My sense, my powers rising higher. Already as with new wine I am aglow. I feel emboldened now to venture forth, to bear the bliss, the sour of this earth, to battle with its tempests breaking, brave crunching shipwreck without quaking. Above me vapors swirl, the moon conceals her rays, the lamplight wanes, it steams and scarlet lightning plays. About my head there wafts a tremor down the vaulting, and seizes me. I feel you floating about me, spirit I adjured. Reveal yourself, ah, how it wrenches at my soul, all senses reeling, and rooting darkly toward me, new feeling. I feel my very soul is yours to take. You must, as were my life at stake. He seizes the book and mysteriously pronounces the sign of the spirit. A reddish flame flashes, the spirit that fears in the flame. Spirit, who calls for me? Appealing vision. Long have you drawn me here, with potent summons sucking at my sphere, and now I cannot bear you, woe. With bated breath you yearn to meet me, to hear my voice, to gaze upon my face. Swayed as your mighty soul pleading entreat me, I yield, am here, what horrors base. Now seize your Superman? Now seize your Superman, where's the soul you call hurled? Where's the breast that wrought in it a world? That bore and nursed it, that with joyous tremble swelled up to soar, as spirits to resemble? Where is the Faust, whose voice rang out to me, who urged himself on me with utmost energy? Could it you be he, who at my wafting breath is shaken even unto death, shrinking aside, a fearful writhing worm? Am I to yield to you, semblance of flame? No, I am Faust, your match, I am the same. In tides of living and doing storm, up, down I wave, waft to and fro, birth and grave, an endless flow, a changeling plating. From fiery begetting, thus at times scurrying loom I weave and warp, and broider at the Godhead's living garb. You who bestride the world from end to end, spirit of deeds, how close I feel to thee. Close to the wraith you comprehend, not me. Spear vanishes. Faust collapsing. Not thee? Whom then? What I made in God's likeness, yet like not even thee? A knock at the door. Death! That was a mistake. Ducky, chill. That was me. That was me. Nay, 'twas death. Death, it's my familius. I knew that knock. My fairest hour of luck is spoiled. Oh, must this wealth of visions then be foiled by that dry, sneaking cluck? By that dry, sneaking cuck? Wagner, in dressing gown and nightcap, lamp in his hand. Faust turns round with his face. Wagner, your leave. I heard declaiming in this art. I stand to profit from your kind directive. You read, I think, a Greek dramatic part? Such nowadays is most effective. I have often heard the claim at last that a comedian should instruct a priest. Yes, if the priest is a comedian, I suggest, as I am told from time to time befalls. Ah me, thus pent within one's study walls, seeing the world on holidays at best, by spyglass from afar on rare occasion. How can one influence it by persuasion? What you don't feel, you don't hunt down by art, unless it wells from your own inward source, and with contentment's elemental force takes sway of every hearer's heart. Just sit there, pasting joints to members, concoct from others' feast your hash, and blow a puny glow of embers up from your little heap of ash. From minds of babes and apes you may be coining tribute of awe, if this be what you seek. But never heart to heart will you be joining unless you let your own heart speak. Delivery, though, commends a speaker's mind. I feel 't well. I still am far behind. Be not a fool. See you but honest recompense. Be not a fool with jangling bells. For solid reasoning and good sense with little art commend themselves. If you're in earnest to be heard, should there be need to chase the wind, that edge of rhetoric that glints and cleaves, by which you curl the shavings of mankind, is idle as the fog wind to my mind, that rustles through the dry autumnal leaves. Dear me, how long is art, and short is our life. I often know amid the scholar's strife a sinking feeling in my heart and mind. How difficult the means are to be found, by which the primal sources may be breached, and long before the halfway point is reached, they bury a poor devil in the ground. Of parchment then is made the sacred spring, a draught of which forever shakes all thirst. From naught can your refreshment wring, unless from your own inmost soul it burst. Your pardon, yet the joy is unsurpassed, of insight into errors long ago, to see how wise men though thought thus and so, and how we reached our splendid heights at last. Where does someone knock at my door in the middle of the night and talk to me? This is how I would talk to them. This makes sense. Not one candle's out. It's the devil. Faust. O starry heights indeed! 'Twas the times of yore, it is decreed. Like a book by 7 seals protected, the so-called spirit of the age you'll find. The truth is but the gentleman's own mind, in which the ages are reflected. And there you're apt to face a scene of gloom. One glance is quite enough to make you stagger. A refuse barrel or a lumber room, with such sagaciously pragmatic saws. At best, a stiff, bombastic masks a swagger, as might come fitly from a puppet's jaws. But take the world of man, his heart and mind. We all seek some perception of the same. Ah, yes, perception of a kind. Who dares to call the child by its right name? Those few who are vouchsafed of it one wit, and rashly fail to curb their full heart's throb, bared what they felt and witnessed to the mob, were ever burnt and crucified for it. I beg you, friend, the night is halfway gone, for now we must break off discussion. I should have willingly stayed on and on, disputing with you in this learned fashion. Tomorrow, though it be Easter day, indulge me for some further questioning. I have studied with a will and worked away. Though I know much, I would know everything. Exit. Faust, alone. Oh, this is getting hot. The hair must be put away. air sticks to my face. I put too much wood in the wood stove, and it is 80 degrees in here. I wonder if we can crank down the dimness on this. Sounds like the Harry Potter thing. Faust is alone. How does the mind sustain some hope and pleasure, as stuck forever to the same old terms, with greedy fingers grubbing after treasure, and gratified to dig up worms? May such a human accent here resound, where all about was spirit, wealth, and worth. Alas, this once, though, I am bound to thank you, poorest of the sons of earth. You banished the despair that held me fast. What that was about to overthrow my mind. Alas, the apparition was so vast, it showed me all too well my dwarfish kind. I, Godhead's likeness, who had sword in mind, close to the mirror of eternal verity, self-relishing in heaven's radiant clarity, the son of earth quite left behind. I more than cherub, whose free energy, foreboding dared through nature's veins to flow, and through creation joyously to know, godlike estate, must I now rue it so. A thunder word rang out and withered me. Now I may not presume to be your equal, while I have strength to draw you here, the sequel. The strength to hold you was denied to me, that fleeting moment of high bliss. I felt myself so small, so great, until you thrust me, merciless, back to uncertain human fate. Who teaches me? What should I shun? That urge I feel, shall I obey? Both what we do and what we suffer to be done, alas, impedes us on life's way. The greatest glory ever mind received, by alien stuff becloyed, its choke and flawed. When what this earth calls good has been achieved, the better is accounted dream or fraud. Those feelings which were glorious rebirth congeal amidst the welter of this earth. Fellow's a bit of a cynic. Where fancy and audacious flight expanded to the eternal once its buoyant hope, now it contents itself with little scope, as ship on ship in woes of time is stranded. Deep in the heart, grey care anon will settle, in secret plant her stinging nettle. With restless rocking, spoil, repose, and joy, ever new masks for her disguise employ. And be it wife and child, or land and corn, be it knife, poison, fire, water, at blows that never fall you falter, and what you never lose you must forever mourn. Not like the gods am I, profoundly it is rude. I'm of the earthworm's dust-engendered brood, which blindly burrowing my dust is fed, and crushed and buried by the wanderer's tread. These 100 shelves, is it not dust that bent their lofty wall into a stell which stifles? A universe of moths where I am pent into a dustbin with 1,000 trifles. Here would I find the thing I lack. Am I to plow 1,000 books to read? Yes. Of man at all times stretched upon a rack, and here and there one happy one indeed? Ho, grinning hollow skull, well you may be leer, to think that once your brain, like this one here, in murky bondage sought the easeful day, and parched with thirst for truth, went grievously astray. You instruments, you mock me, I could see, with wheel and pulley, cylinder and cords. I faced the gate, you were to be the key, but cannot lift the bolt, however shrewd your wards. Mysterious and bright daylight never will nature be defrauded of her veil. What to your spirit she reveal not, that you fail to torture out of her with screw or lever? You ancient gear I never used, you loom about here just because my father worked you. You ancient scroll, you have been cured with fume, while at the desk the feeble lamp bemirked you. Far better to have squandered, free of care, my pittance than to sweet withal and scoff it. What you received but as your father's heir, make it your own to gain possession of it. What is unused is ballast, hard to bear. Alone what moment has begot can yield it profit. Why is that spot there riveting my glances? Is that small flask a magnet to my sight? A sudden lovely gleam my soul entrances, like moonlight wafting through the woods at night. I bid you greeting, vile, unique, with now which veneration I fetch down. In you I reverence of human wit the peak, of gracious slumber saps the inmost flower, quintessence of all subtly lethal power. Prove to your lord your favor and renown. I see you in the agony decreases. I grasp beyond the striving half releases. Its hold, the spirit's flood tide ebbs betimes. Out to the open sea I am directed. Its mirror flood bright at my feet reflected, and day, new dawning, lures me to new climes. Is he to poison himself? Is that what's he implying? Our fiery chariot wings on pinions light approaches. I am ready, I feel free to cleave the ether on a novel flight to novel spheres of pure activity. Such lofty life, such godly benison. You but a worm as yet deserve it, you. With firm resolve, then turn your back upon this lovely son of earth, the son you knew. Embold yourself to fling apart the gate, past which all other men would crawl weak kneed. That manhood does not yield to God's high state. Now is the moment to affirm by deed. To tremble not before the somber hollow, wherein our fancy on itself but praise, and gird oneself that passes way to follow, about whose narrow mouth all hell's ablaze. Resolve serenely to essay no less, be it on pain of ebbing into nothingness. Now then, O flawless crystal shell, descend forth from your ancient casing, friend, of whom I have not thought in many a year. You gleam at father's festival of spring, help turn their gravity to cheer, when to the mutual pledges you would ring. Your many splendid pictures' opulent craft, the drinker's task to rhyme upon their truth, to drain your hollow in a single draught, puts me in mind of many a night of youth. I shall not pass you to a neighbor now, I shall not home my wits against your graven brow. Here is a juice whose punch is swift and thorough. With flood of brown it fills your hollow bowl. I brewed it, and I choose it so. With this for my last drink from all my soul, with festive high salute, I hail tomorrow. He raises the bowl to his lips. Sounds of bells, and choral song. A chorus of angels sings, of which I will not sing it. Christ is arisen, joy to the mortal, him whom invidious, subtle, insidious, blemishes prisoned. I don't know, did I lie? Faust. What solemn droning, what melodious fluting, perforce rests the goblet in midway. Are you already deep-toned bells saluting the festive breaking hour of Easter day? You choirs, do you the solace hymn resume that angels' lips intone in the sepulchre's gloom? Now covenant's sure warranty. We stay to tend him with spices rare, last to befriend him we laid him there, his body binding in wrappings sheer. Lo, now we find him no longer here. Christ is arisen, bless the love spirit, whose suffering merit earned grace from flesh's prison for us to inherit. Why, O celestial music strong and gentle, pursue me here where I in the dust I grieve. Ring out your notes where men are sentimental. I hear you the message, but I can't believe. Belief's beloved child is miracle. To yonder spheres I venture not to strive. Whence issues the enchanting spell, and yet inured from childhood to this knell. Now also to its summons I revive. Time was the kiss of heavenly love, sank down on me in earnest Sabbath calm. So bodefully the bell notes throbbed above, and praying was voluptuous balm. A lovely longing no one understands drove me to Roman woods and meadowlands. Of scalding tears I paid a generous toll, as a new world unfolded in my soul. The merry games of youth this song is pealing, the spring's rites happy grace, and now remembrance rouses childlike feeling to bar the path that none retrace. Resound, sound on, O sweet celestial chord, the tear wells up, to earth I am restored. While he unvaulted from the tomb's prison, revives exalted in splendor risen, in rapturous Jason nears joyous creation. Woe in earth's furrow, we know but sorrow, who once were his, if left to languish, we mourn in anguish, master thy bliss. Risen is Christ, out of corruption's trough, you too arise, your bounds cast off. Who praise him in action, practice affection, nourishing brothers, preaching to others, glad resurrection, for you the Lord is near, for you is here, outside the city gate. Some apprentices, why there? Why are you bound? Where are you bound? Others, we're heading for the Stag and Hound. The former, we meant to strike out for the mill. One apprentice, let's make it Lakeside Hostel, if you will. Another, the road down there is not the best. The others, what will you do? A third, I'm going with the rest. A fourth, come up to Bergdorf, there you'll find it true. They have the prettiest girls, the finest brew, and there'll be first-rate hassles for you. A fifth, an overlusty lad, I swear. You're itching to be tanned a third time there? No, not for me. That place gives me the horrors. The heebie-jeebies. Servant girl, no, I'm going back to town, just see. God, I'm not doing that again. Another, I'm sure he's waiting by the poplars there. The first, that's precious little fun for me. You'll have a lark to make a pair. Sure, arm in arm with you he'll go, and dance with no one else, I know. The other, but there'll be two today. You're wrong. He said that Curlyhead would be along. Student, gad, how those sturdy wenches sail. My word, we mustn't let them go to waste. A pungent smoke, a hearty mug of ale. A dolled-up maid, such brother is my taste. Girl of the burgher class. Look, will you, at those handsome lads. That really seems a shame to me. Here they could have their choicest company. And who do they run after? Maids. Second student, to the first. No, wait, here comes a turnout to explore, both very pretty and well-dressed. One is a girl who lives next door, in whom I take warm interest. They trip along there all demure, yet would not mind our company, I'm sure. First student, no friend, no parlor tricks for me, I say. Be quick, or we might lose that other game. The hand that plies the broom on Saturday will best caress you Sunday all the same. Citizen, no, I don't like him, the new burgomaster. Now that he's in, he just gets bolder faster. And for the town, what is he doing, pray? Are we not worse off every day? It's do as you are told as never, and fork out taxes more than ever. A beggar singing, of which I will not. Fair ladies, kindly sirs, for pity, so red of cheek and fine of dress, be pleased to heed my poor entreaty, and see and lighten my distress. Let me not gainly grind my barrel. He who can give alone is gay. A day on which all men make merry, be it for me a harvest day. On holidays I know of nothing cozier, neighbor, than a good chat of war and war's alarms, when far away in Turkey tribes in arms whack one another and belabor. While you stand by the window down your glass, watch the bright-colored ships glide down the breeze, and in the evening amble home at last, with blessings upon peace and peacetime ease. Well spoken, friend, just what I always say. Let them crack noggins freely, sir. Let things go every which way, if just at home they stay as they were. An old woman. What stately finery, my, what pretty vases. Who would not fall for such a dainty dish? Never mind those airs and graces, I might just find a way to what you wish. The first young girl. Quick, Agatha, it really wouldn't do to walk in public with a witch like her. Though on St. Andrew's Eve she let me view my future love in person, I prefer. I believe this old woman might be a witch. She showed me mine too, in the crystal's face, a soldier like, with others bold and trim. I've looked about, been searching every place, but cannot seem to meet with him. Soldiers. Castles with frowning, battlements rude, maidens in howdy, meddlesome mood. These I would savor, keen is the labor, splendid the prize. Trumpets blaring, do our wooing, for love's delight, for foes' undoing, boisterous onslaught, cruel or tender, maidens and castles both must surrender. Keen is the labor, sweet the reward, after the contest soldiers depart. And here enters Faust with Wagner, as I pour another draft of the hot and cozy. Dash of pumpkin spice. Clears the throat. Freed from the ice are brooks and rivers by springs enchanting enlivening gaze. The valley is blithe with hope's green haze, hoary winter with senile shivers, back to his mountain's lair withdrew. Thence he flings, shorn of his powers, granules of ice in spiteful showers, streaking over the verdant site. The sun, however, allows no white. All is astir with shaping and striving, all he would dower with hues and enliven. The flower season still lies ahead. Folk in their finery do instead turn around with me, look down from these lofty hillsides back toward town. See how the gate's dark cave exudes, teeming colorful multitudes. All seek the sun with glad accord. They exult in the rising of the Lord, for they are resurrected themselves, freed from the shackles of shops and crafts, from stuffy dwellings like narrow shelves, from the city streets with their smoldering press. From out the church's reverend night they have all been raised to light. Look, look how nimbly the human crest breaks and surges through field and park, how the length and width of the river's breast cradles many a pleasured bark. Yonder, laden full to sinking, the last of the fragile craft unties. From the very hilltops, far off winking, bright-colored dresses strike our eyes. I hear the village buzz already, true people's heaven crowded, heedy, and young and old exult in glee. Here I am man, am free to be. Wagner. To stroll with you, Sir Doctor, never, but profits and exalts the mind. But on my own, I would not stray here ever, because I shun all that is unrefined. How I abominate these vulgar revels, the fiddling, roaring clash of the bowling run. They rave as if pursued by 1,000 devils, and call it singing, call it fun? The peasants, they dance, and they sing. The shepherd dressed him for the jig, with ribbon and wreath a colourful rig. He made a handsome show. The throng around the linden pressed, and whirled about as if possessed. Hey ho, hey ho, hey nonny nonny ho, went fiddle and flying bow. In clumsy haste he crowded hard, and straightway with his elbow jawed. A maiden dancing near, the pert young wench, she turned about, and said, Be off, you stupid lout, hey ho, hey nonny nonny ho, you mind your manners here. And thus is the rest of the song. An old peasant. Sir Doctor, it is kind of you on this our day to be not proud, but full of learning through you are, to mingle with the jostling crowd. So I present the finest jug, which we have freshly filled with beer, and pledging you pronounce the wish that it does not refresh you here, but that your span of days have gained one for each drop that it contained. I take the cooling potion here, and bid you all a grateful cheer. It is well done, and fit indeed, the people gather in a circle. That this day glad you pay us call, who formerly in days of need have done so kindly by us all. For many a man here drawing breath, caught in the fever's parching grasp, was by your father snatched from death, the time he stemmed the plague at last. You also did a young man then attend each sick bed without fail, and many a corpse was carried hence, but you did issue safe and hale. You passed through many a hard ordeal. The healer helped his helpmeet heal. All. May health attend this man of worth, long to help others on this earth. Obeisance makes to him on high, who teaches help whose help is nigh. What sentiments, great man, must swell your breast upon the homage of this multitude? Ah, he who can derive such good from his own gifts indeed is blessed. Fathers lift boys as you up go. All push and run and ask the cause. The fiddle rests, the dancers pause. You pass, they stand there row on row, and all the caps go flying by. They all but genuflect and bend down low, as if the sacrament came by. A few steps farther up yet at that stone, here we may rest us from our expedition. Here I set off and thoughtful and alone, and plagued myself with prayer and inanition. Steadfast in faith and rich in confidence, I wrung my hands with many a tear and sigh, to rest the lifting of that pestilence from the Almighty Lord on high. Now people's cheers to me ring jeering fun. Could you but read within my soul the story, how little father and son were truly worthy of such glory. My father, man of Nate honor though unsung, brooded on nature with a crotchety passion, and in all probity yet in his fashion, upon her sacred circles raptly hung, by secret recipes unending. Locked up in the black kitchen with retorts, he brewed away with adepts blending, contrariness of every sort. There was a scarlet lion, intrepid wooer, wed to the lily in a tepid ewer, and then by open flames the two were vexed,
from one new bridal chamber to the next. And when at last, with rainbow colors vying, the young queen glistened in the yield, there was your dose. There was your dose. The patients went on dying, and nobody inquired who was healed. And thus, with our infernal tonic upon these hills, these dales we visited, a plague far worse than the bubonic. Why, with this poison I myself defrauded men by the thousands, leaving them for dead. How I must hear the brazen killers lauded. Why feel so bitterly disgusted? Come, does an honest man do ill? Pursuing with good faith and you will the art with which he was entrusted? If you revere your father as a youth, you will accept from him with pleasure. If as a man you swell the store of truth, your son may grow to yet more lofty measure. Oh, lucky who can still aspire to surface from the sea of aberration. What we know not, of that our need is dire, of what we know lacks application. However, this bright hour's fair benison, let such low spirits not embitter. Observe how in the flaming evening sun those green-embowered cabins glitter. He yields and sinks. The day is lived and done. He hastes beyond new life to breed and nourish. Oh, that I have no buoyant wings to flourish, to strive and follow on and on. I'd see an endless vesper rays, the silent world beneath me glowing, the valleys all appeased, each hill blaze, the silver brooks to golden rivers flowing. No more would then this rugged bluff deny, with cliff and precipice the godlike motion. Already with its sun-warmed bays the ocean reveals itself to the astonished eye. Alas, it seems the god is downward sinking, yet new urge awakes the mind. I hasten on, his ceaseless radiance drinking. The day ahead of me, night left behind. The waves below and overhead the sky. A happy fancy, meanwhile, he must pass. To spirit wings will scarce be joined, alas. Corporeal wings, wherewith to fly. Yet it is innate in us all, that feeling ever upward, forward presses, when lost above in heaven's azure spaces, the skylight trills his jubilant call, when over craggy, thick-clad highlands and outspread wings the eagle rides, and striving over plains and islands, the crane toward his homeland glides. I too have been to moody crotchets given, by such an urge, though I was never driven. The term in which watching woods and fields is brief. I shall never begrudge the bird its soaring. Compare the mind's delight, which wings us pouring from book to book, from leaf to leaf. Then nights of winter bloom with grace and zest. Your limbs glow with a blissful warming leaven. Ah, shall you unroll a worthy palimpsest? Then there descends on you the whole of heaven. You are by just a single urge possessed. Oh, may you never know the other. Two souls, alas, are dwelling in my breast, and either would be severed from its brother. The one who holds fast with joy's earthly lust onto the world of man with organs clinging, the other soars and passions from the dust to realms of lofty forebears winging. Oh, be their spirits in the air, who twixt the earth and heaven reigning hover. Descend ye from the golden fragrance there, to new and changeful living lead me over. Why, if a magic cape were only mine, and were to bear me over alien borders, I trade it not for choicest robes and orders, nor for the royal cloak incarnadine. It's a new word. Forbear to call on the notorious clan, which all abroad in misty concourse faring, in thousandfold disguise and perils span, hazards from every side preparing. From north, with arrow-tapered tongues that threaten, the ghostly razor fang is thrust at you. From orient, with withering breath they drew, upon your parching lungs to batten. While noon sends those who from the desert burst, and glow unsearing glow amass around you. Thus brings this form to who will, refreshing first, pour floods on fields and pasture lands and drown you. They gladly listen, being glad to grieve, to cheat us keen, hence eagerly complying, as if from heaven sent they make believe, with angel glisps as they are lying. But let us go, the world about us has paled, the air grown chill in vapors veiled. At dusk the home we doubly prize. Why do you stand and peer in mute surmise? What can engage you here in the gloaming? See that black dog through seed and fallow roaming? I saw it long before and paid it little heed. Look at it well. What would you call its breed? A poodle, I should say, with canine snooping at palms upon its master's trail. Do you observe him near and near, looping a narrowing spiral like the convolute snail? Unless I err, there rises in his track a swirling fiery effusion. I see a pool and I see its black. Yours must be some optical illusion. He seems to snare our feet with magic weaving, some future bondage thread by stealthy tread. Is that the Grim? Is he seeing the Grim? Wagner sees a poodle. He's circling us in wonder or misgiving to see two strangers in his master's stead. The ring grows tight, already he is near. You see, a dog, there is no spectre here. He gives a growl, he wanders, lies down flat, he wags his tail, all canine conduct that. Come here and join us, come to me. A skittish fool of a poodle, see? You stop, he sits and begs. You speak to him, he rears on his hind legs. Lose something and he will retrieve it. Swim out for sticks you throw, believe it. You must be right, for watch him as I will, I find no trace of spirit, all is drill. A dog, if ably trained and clever, will even gain a wise man's favor. Yes, he deserves your good will without scruple. The undergraduate's accomplished pupil. They passed under the city's gate. And now we on the studies, but we shall take a break because my eyes are having trouble following the words, as they often do when I read aloud for a long time. Join us again 1 week for today, that being Friday, I have no idea what, 25. The 1st? The 31st? The 30th? Join us next Friday as we continue on our story on Faust by Johann Wolfgang von Goethe.